higher end of the entry level though, so I consider it a semi-beginner guitar. It's still really nice. But anyway, we got the Epiphone Les Paul. We got the guitar. All right. We've got the body. We've got the neck. We've got, this is called the headstock. These things here are called the tuners. This little piece right here that threads the strings is called the nut. And so this fun little switch right here controls the pickups. Now, the pickups in different parts of the guitar have different sound qualities. So when you have a selector with this style of guitar, each switch here is a different configuration of the pickups. For instance, if I'm flipped up all the way here, it's only picking up sound from this pickup. If I do it in the middle, it's from both. And when I go to the back switch here, it's the back pickup, which is brighter and more for like, heavier rock. But you get different tones, so just experiment with it. A lot of heavy distortion rock has the switch back there, but you can have fun with it. It's guitar. It's meant to have fun with. Okay, this here that holds the strings in place, this is called the bridge of the guitar. Now we have some fancy knobs here. That's volume control. For your very first lesson, we just want them everything turned all the way up. But it's a way to blend the pickups and then your tone, just like you would on a stereo. You've got, treble and bass, and you can make it brighter or darker sounding. But for now, everything cranked up. You can go to the back one, you can go to the middle one. That's going to be totally up to you. Now, next, that's just the basic hardware. We're going to need a cable. Pretty self-explanatory. You stick it in there. Now, I have my little practice amp, a nice beginner, affordable practice Black Star amp here. And so then I'm plugging into the input. We're going to talk about the amp in a second. All right, you're not going to get anywhere with an electric or an acoustic guitar if the guitar is not in tune. So we've learned that, the guitar, the main parts of it, it's got a nice curve right here. If you're right-handed, you put that curve right on your right thigh. And you just let it rest comfortably. You want to get comfortable with it. Now, we got to get the guitar in tune. I have a video that's free on YouTube, how to tune your guitar. So check that out, because I don't want to waste time with the lesson portion here teaching you how to tune the guitar. But what you do want to know is the letter names of the strings of the guitar. It's going to be very important later on, very important for learning the instrument. And there's a fun little saying, there's a bunch of sayings, but the one I like is Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. So think that, Eddie Van Halen, whatever. Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. And that gives you E, A, D, G, B, E. So right off the bat, when you want to learn to tune your guitar, you're going to need to know the letters, because it's going to show you the letter on what I recommend, a nice Snark tuner, not endorsed, but it clips on right here. And you turn it on, and it's going to tell you, it's going to show a letter, and then it's going to show you how sharp or flat or in tune you are. Sharp meaning the note's a little too high, so you have to use this tuner to bring it down. And if a note shows up here flat, you're going to want to bring the note up with the tuner. And the tuner has a little needle that's going to help you tune it. So, Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. The tuner shows me I'm in tune. I've been playing a long time, so I know how to play already, so I might play a chord I know and just hear if the guitar sounds right. Nice and in tune. I'm going to take the tuner off so you can admire the beauty of the guitar and not block anything on it. That's a pet peeve for some pros out there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to just set this amp up here, which will be similar to most practice amps. We're going to set it up for two different sounds. We're going to set it up for what we call a clean tone. So if you got a clean sound, we're going to set it up for a clean sound, and then we're going to set it up for distortion, which is that rock overdrive sound. this is this little Blackstar practice amp. Literally just runs on batteries. Very fun. Still get great tones from it. So just since we're in the newbie zone, I'm going to turn all these knobs down. Let's talk about what each one does. Gain, volume, EQ, and this particular amp comes with the delay, which is an effect. Some amps, you might see something there that says reverb. Other amps may have a multi-effects setting, but that's kind of the last thing it's a little like seasoning we're gonna add at the end. Okay, gain is the amount of crunch and distortion and overdrive you're getting. Volume is the level after you've created your crunchy overdrive. So you would create that first, then turn up how much drive you want. EQ, since we're beginners, we're not going for any particular style yet. We're just going to go right up in the middle there, no problem. And then delay, basically you've got a thing here that says delay level, which is going to be how loud the actual effect is going to be. We don't want it very loud. I'm going to turn it all the way down and then just pepper it once I start to hear it. Delay, very little. Okay, so that would be our basic clean tone. Now, this little button right here, look carefully, OD for overdrive. So we're going to start to turn that up. Okay. Now, when I hit that button down, oh, sorry, the overdrive is already on. That's why I'm saying it goes there. So with it depressed, you have a basic, what would be called a clean channel. You press it down, you've got a distortion rock channel. So I'm going to turn that up about 3/4 of the way up. The volume, a little less. We'll adjust that at the end for how loud we actually want it in the room. And then we have a switch. Depress for clean, press down for overdrive for the rock stuff. So we would have the clean tone. I press the OD button down. Turn the gain up. I turn the volume up. I just switch to the back pickup, so it's a little brighter. Back to clean. Overdriven. Now let's zoom in and let me show you a few tricks to begin having a little fun with actually playing some music. All right, let's start playing this thing. So you're going to want to start with a guitar pick or a plectrum here. This one is a heavy. You want to start with a light or a medium pick. It's more forgiving and it's great for a beginner. So that's what I would recommend. Also, we've got the strings here. We've got these things called power chords, which sound like this. So the first thing I would try and do is have you just see if you can just pick down the tip of the pick. Think of it as you've got your thumb and you can just put it as an extension of underneath your thumbprint, like it's extending out like your thumbnail. And then with your index finger, you just pinch it together. And then I tend to tilt it to my left a little bit. But really, you got the thumb, and then it just tilts to the side of your thumb a little bit. But it's meant to be what feels comfortable for you. Our hands are all shaped a little differently, different sizes. But I grab the pick, and I'm going to strike down and see if I can just strike that top string there, the E string, as in Eddie Ate Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie. Now start seeing if you can hit the strings all alone. You can look down at the string and then see if you can do it with the next one. And then keep going and just start targeting out those strings. I know it's not very exciting, but that's a starting point. And you're going to need to be able to do that to tune your guitar at the very beginning anyway. So now, I recommend a couple little classic little one-string kind of riffs. Now, the first one I ever learned sounded like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit different one. We're going to go like this, and I'm going to say the fret names. Now, the spaces in between here are called frets. So if I said first fret, you're going to take your finger, and we're just going to talk about this Eddie 8 Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie. We're going to just talk about this top E string here. So if I said play the first fret on the E string, you'd count up to that first section and use the very tip of your finger and press down on the string and see if you can get it to ring out. Should sound like this. Now, if you're scooted back on the fret, it's going to be harder to push. You want to go for, if I said first fret, you want to be closer up, meaning this way, this direction. You want to be closer up to that second fret. You won't have to press as hard. Use the tip of your finger. The farther you back on the fret you go, the worse shape you're going to be in. So if I said second fret, you're going to be in this second area, a little bit scooted up towards the third fret, but still behind this metal bracket, this metal fret here. So that'd be the second fret. Third fret, fourth fret, fifth fret. Etc. So now I'm going to say some fret numbers out loud, and we're going to play a fun little rock riff. And it goes like this. You can just use one finger. O, 3, 5. If I turn the overdrive on. O, 3, 5. Now check this out. My palm, when I'm doing it, I don't want you to think too much about it, but you're probably noticing that you're getting a lot of the other strings ringing out. That's something that you just want to let it work itself out by playing like 5 minutes a day to begin with. Maybe 10 minutes if you're feeling excited. But what I'm doing is I'm letting my fingers kind of, I'm almost like cupping the strings here and letting my hand kind of always be ready to touch the strings so they don't ring out. Just pointing that out. I don't want you to be focused on that, but it is something to point out because you're probably noticing that. Okay, so let's go back to O, 3, 5. Next, we're going to do the opposite. 5, 3, O. O, 3, 5. 5, 3, open. Now, if you want to get a little rhythmic with your right hand. Down, 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 down. I'm going to say some numbers out loud here. This 0, that's 0, or O, that's 3, and then that's 5. So we're going to go like this now. We're going to mix it up. O, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, O, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, O, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, O. 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, O. 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, O. Now you have another little mixer-upper lick thing. All right, one more fun little riff. And then stay tuned for lesson number 2. We're going to say those same numbers. O, 3, O, 5, O, 3, O. Again. O, 3, O, 5, O, 3, O, O, 3, O, 5, O, 3, O. That's another one to mess around with. Remember, this is only your first lesson. Rome wasn't built in a day. That's like a dad saying, right? But eventually what you're going to do, even though we were just using one finger, eventually you're going to add a second finger, and that's like the only shape you need for Green Day, Nirvana, you know, lots of Metallica and Black Sabbath and just all that good Blink-182, all the rock stuff. It would look like this. Instead of 3, 5, you add an extra finger, and then you get what's called the power chord. And look, I'm moving the same shape everywhere. So in other words, I have one shape to rule them all. You can even scoot them over on other strings, but it's one shape that can be scooted all over. As you get braver, you can try 2 fingers to move it around. There was your very first guitar lesson. Got more on the way, so stay tuned for that. Also at my site, martymusic.com. I got a bunch of guitar courses over there that I think will really help you if you really want to get serious about this guitar thing. Thanks again, and I hope to see you real soon.